Yo, Lego Mechagodzilla version 5.
Run! It's Godzilla!
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Say here. Let's get right into it. Oh yes, we got the mechanized king of kaijus in the building, coming in at about 20 hours of build time, scaling at about 10 inches tall from head to toe, and composed of about 1,126 pieces. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, boy.
Now, if you too would like to build this Mechagodzilla mock here that I designed, the instructions to him are available on my Rebrickable page for $5. But because there's always a but, if you sign up to my Patreon, you actually get all of my instructions in one bulk load for $5 a month. So instead of having to buy each one of my instructions for $1 or $2 or $3 or $5 each, you can just get all of them by signing up to my Patreon. And just as a final note for anyone that decides to buy the parts list to this guy, you do actually get the projectile and weapon effects included. So if you were to go on the website and buy just the pieces so you could build them, you get these missile launcher effects here, the laser beams, the flamethrower, and all that good stuff. Now, as we all know, there's a bunch of different versions of Mechagodzilla. However, this one in particular is based off of the 1993 Godzilla vs King Kong PVC action figure. And it's actually really similar to the Ready Player One Mechagodzilla. So I'll be using a bunch of movie clips from that Ready Player One movie in this review, even though those two models are not exactly the same. Okay, now that we've gotten all that out the way, let's get right into this weaponry review, because as you can see, this Mechagodzilla here is in the midst of busting some caps and splitting some wigs. Okay, now first up, we've got Mechagodzilla's arm drill thingamabob here, which is actually really easy to tab on and tab off because it connects via a blue Technic pin. So pretty much all you have to do is just slide the hand out and then replace it with the arm drill here by sliding it back into the same Technic slot.
Oh.
But hold up though, right? Because I'm gonna tell you the really cool thing about this weapon right here. We actually got some 2-in-1 action going with this arm drill here, bruh. We can display it like this with the flame shooting out the middle, or we can actually remove the flame from the cylindrical brick in the middle, close down these bad boys right here, and get an actual physical drill that has some rotational capabilities on the same hand. Okay, everybody calm down. Next up, we got the upper forearm laser cannon right here. Looking pretty basic but fire at the same time. Can I get a sheesh, please? Hey, yo, best hit that subscribe button right now, boy, because we only going up from here. Next up, we got the shoulder rocket missile launcher with the projectile shooting out. You know what? Let that marinate a little bit, okay? Because that's avance. Okay, now swinging around to the other side of Mechagodzilla here, as you can see, we got the signature atomic beam mouth action going. Nothing too crazy, but what is crazy is if we take a look at his left shoulder here, you'll see an entire atomic missile just sitting there waiting to be fired. But you know what? Let me tell you why this is crazy, because y'all think I'm really out here playing. What we can do is we can take the projectile pieces from the other shoulder rocket launcher, disassemble the rocket on the right side and reattach it in a different way, and then attach the projectile to the back of the missile and then to the upper portion of the shoulder and make it look as though the atomic missile has just fired.
Hey, yo, what the f***?
Nah, hold up. Yo, don't even play the sound effect right now, bro.
Bruh.
Oh, snap. Yo, you good, bro? Nah, I'm good. But the thing is that, bro, half of them just saw that and they still ain't even hit the subscribe button, bro. Oh, you dead ass? All day. That's wild. That's what I'm saying. Alright, so I mean, like, what you got to say to them? Because I don't even know if you want me to keep editing the video anymore. Well, I mean, like, bro, I'ma just tell them, like, if you ain't hit the subscribe button yet, you out here playing. Apologies, we went a little off script there for a second. It's okay though, it's okay, it happens. On a side note though, shout out to KDo1997 for being a Patreon of the channel and continued supporter. And you guys know I joke, but on a serious note though, thanks to everyone that takes the time to watch, comment, and like my videos and support them in various other ways besides subscriptions on the platform here. Okay, now back to Mechagodzilla here. Okay, you see, we done kind of lost the energy now doing all that extra stuff. But it's okay though, we gonna bring it back. Because back to Mechagodzilla here. Here we have Mechagodzilla sporting the 4-finger projectile missile rocket launchers.
Oh my god!
Okay, now that's it for the weaponry and accessories, but in the comments real quick, let me know which weapon or accessory you like the best. Alright, now in terms of stability, this mock is actually pretty stable, but the thing you have to watch out for is when he has all of his accessories and projectiles attached and you want to display him with the arms forward, because there's so much weight in the front that he may start to buckle at some of his weak points, which are the back of his waist right here and the calf, because his calves are just so small. So he can be displayed in certain angles as you saw as I was reviewing him before, but you just have to be wary of those 2 weak points. But he is using his tail and his 2 feet to balance, so he won't buckle spontaneously when he has all of those items on him. It's really only if you just hit the table or knock him really hard that he'll just break at one of those points. Now, within the previous clips of this video, you may have noticed that Mechagodzilla's feet were actually slightly tilted off the ground. I actually did just update that mid-video and give him some ball joints at the ankles to help increase the stability of him and make it so that his feet are now planted on the ground. And on top of that, I actually did make those updates to the instructions that are available for purchase as well. So although you may see some more clips where his feet are kind of tilted off the ground, just know that in the instructions I did make the change and that there are now ball joints there. And speaking of that design process, this was actually my most difficult build to design in the Lego Studio Designer, because I had to lay down all 1,126 pieces within the program. So it actually took me just as long to design this digitally as it took me to design and build this in real life. And it's not as easy designing and building things digitally as people would think, because when you're designing this guy in a computer, you have to design him so that the instructions that you're going to give out to people are comprehensible. So I had to build this guy from the inside out and lay the pieces out in a very specific order. Now, as for the articulation, he can move his tail left to right, but you're really gonna want to leave that alone because he uses his tail to balance, so he can move the end of it left and right and you can get some kind of cool poses out of that part. The same thing goes for the legs. You really don't want to move those because he's using those to balance as well, although they do have some articulation. Now his arms, on the other hand, are a completely different story because they're not reliant on anything else, so they can move upward, downward, forward, and backward via the Technic rotational ball joint that connects them to his torso. Due to this joint, they can also lock in place, so it's really good for posability and stability. He can also move at the forearm, forward, backward, left, and right, and he's actually got a lot of movement in his hands. They can rotate 360 at the wrist just like in the movie, and he can actually move his fingers upward and downward. The dual mounted shoulder rocket launchers are attached via several ball joints, so you get a lot of movement out of those, pretty much 360 rotations in several directions. And as for the neck and the head, that's attached by ball joints at a couple of locations as well, so it can move up, down, left, and right, and he can also open and close his mouth. And as for the last part of the articulation, Mechagodzilla here is able to lean forward and has somewhat of an ab crunch, so all you have to do is just fold the flap on the inner portion of his stomach here upward and lean him forward. He can lean forward about 30 to 25 degrees before he kind of tilts over, but you can get that cool bended angle going, and if you place the beam in his mouth, it actually looks like he's shooting at the ground. Just bear in mind that anytime you want to move this guy, you really have to be wary of those spines on his back because they're all attached by one clip pieces, so they're really easy to knock off. Now, along with the Rubricable link in the description, I also have the links to my Instagram page where you can see some more pictures of this guy, and I've got the link to my merchandise. And on top of that, if you guys are interested in seeing another one of my mocks, I'll leave the link to my Transformers Bumblebee movie Bumblebee at the end of this video. Although keep in mind, the instructions and parts list to my transformable Transformer mocks are not available for purchase.